Some of them are starting to look a little rough. And some of them are blooming. This is sun gold, it's blooming already. My daughter came day before yesterday and spent some time with the dogs and spent the night. So while she was here yesterday, I went and did a little shopping trip to get a couple things that I didn't think about on my big shopping trip. I hadn't planned on doing this, but I have that huge thing of Napa cabbage, and I was gonna make some stuff to make lumpia and freeze it until I could get some lumpia wraps. But I forgot I needed sausage. So I got a roll of sausage, and this was $3.98. I also got a couple of lights. This time I paid attention to how many lumens they had. The other ones I think were 3. I didn't even pay attention. I was looking at the way they looked and not how much light they gave off. So I have 2 boxes of these. They were $14.98 each. And I put most of them, there was 8 of them. I put 6 out front and 2 in the back. Jar of olives, $2.42, because I was thinking of making pizza also. So I got those, and a pack of mushrooms, $2.05. And since I had leftover chicken from making my chicken and rice dish, I made chicken soft tacos for one meal yesterday, and I already had the tortillas, the flour tortillas. So I went looking for avocados, but they were so small and none of them were close to being ripe, and they were like I think they were 96 cents each, and they were tiny. And it would have taken days for them to ripen, so I just got a giant tub of guacamole, which was super expensive. It was $5.33. This was 15 ounces or 425 grams. And of course I got pizza sauce, because this is another thing I forgot to get. And I could have made my own, but I'd rather just have a jar handy. This was $1.52. Sour cream, I got a small one for my tacos. It was $1.24. And then I made that potato salad the other day, and of course then I thought of not having any more pickle relish because I used the last of it making that potato salad. So this was $2.96. So I also came to the realization that my crabapple tree wasn't going to be able to pollinate my new little apple tree that I got for Christmas, because the crabapple has already bloomed. I don't think there's any blooms left on it, and my apple tree isn't gonna bloom until May. I think May. It's a late blooming tree, May, June. I don't know. It's a very late season tree. So I don't know why I didn't realize that before, because I knew it was a late blooming tree. I knew the apples get ripe in like November, but I didn't put the two together. I just Googled whether or not crabapple could pollinate an apple tree, and that's all I did. So I went ahead and bought another apple tree. This time I got a mini dwarf, so it should only get to be, I think, 5 or 6 foot tall. And I'm going to, it is a late bloomer. I picked one, well, I wanted an interesting one that had, was like more of an heirloom variety, but everyone that I have found either didn't have a dwarf or mini dwarf available, or they were sold out. So I went ahead and got a newer variety, and now I can't remember the name of it. But it's a late blooming variety, and it stores really good, and it's sweet tart, so that's good. I don't like super sweet apples anymore, but this one's crispy, juicy, and it is slightly tart. So, and it's resistant to a bunch of different problems. So I thought, if my northern spy gets some kind of disease or doesn't produce very well, maybe I'll get some off this other tree, because it is so disease resistant and newer and tougher, hopefully. I also got my rings, oh my gosh, what are these called? The seals, the rubber gasket. I don't know what they're called. Anyway, I got them yesterday from Amazon, and I noticed it is smaller than the one that came with my Instant Pot. So I'm thinking they actually put the wrong size, and that's why I've always had trouble with it sealing. Ever since I got it, half the time it doesn't work. It falls out, and I think that's why. Because I can tell just by looking that it's smaller than the one that came with my Instapot. So hopefully I don't have any more trouble. I am going to use it again today, so I'm going to make the lumpia insides in my Instapot. So I'm going to feed the dogs and make my breakfast, and then I'm going to start the lumpia, and then I have to go through and repot some of the really big tomatoes. I also have to throw out all the lettuce because it's all bitter now. I tried to use some in my taco yesterday, and it was bitter. I used some of the one that's planted outside, so I'm going to pull those up. I also tried to use some that are still under the grow lights, and they are bitter now also. This is why I don't grow lettuce, because it doesn't last very long. You can't eat off of it for very long, and it gets frustrating. It's not like other greens. I usually just, if I don't buy lettuce, which I don't a lot because it's expensive now, so usually in the summer I will just pick whatever greens I have out there. I usually grow Swiss chard, some kind of spinach, even Malabar spinach, or any other kind of green, Mizuna. And I'll just pick that and put it on whatever in my salad, or like on the chicken soft tacos. And I don't have to worry about it being bitter and going through all that trouble of growing it and then it's bitter. So I'm just browning the ground beef and the sausage. So I've decided to just cook it in this pot instead of using the Instant Pot. So I put some onions in, carrots, have to thaw out the green beans. Putting in the green beans. This is the last of the garden beans from last year. So usually I would put more in here, but this is all I have. So the apple tree that I bought that I talked to you about earlier was Enterprise, in case you're wondering. So I'm going to wash up all the nap cabbage and start putting it in there. I might add a small onion too, because I just used part of an onion that I'd already cut up that was in the fridge. So the only seasonings I put in it are salt and pepper and garlic. I just put some garlic powder in it, and towards the end of the cooking I might put some of my fresh garlic in there too. Well, fresh, that's chopped up already in the refrigerator. So I'm going to start putting in the Napa cabbage. And it will cook down quite a bit. Got a couple of bowls full of excess stuff I need to take out. Food scraps I have to take out into the garden and bury. I also think I'm going to bury all the lettuce that's out there. Dinky, you quit digging. Where did Butter go? Butter? Where you at? You're not being bad, are you? Dink! Dink. No. I'm watching you. If you can see that, all the vegetables are cooked. I'm just going to add a little bit of garlic. Maybe a lot. I think I got a spoonful of garlic. My mouth is burning a little bit. Let's see if I can pick this up. So this is what it looks like when it's cooked. I'm gonna set it aside and let it cool down a little bit, and then I'll drain it. So I don't make these very often. I used to make them a lot more when my kids were younger, because especially when I was working and I had a couple days off in a row, I would just make up a bunch and they could warm them up. They are good to have though, because I freeze them on a tray once they're actually in the wrappers. Freeze them on a tray after I've rolled them up, and then I'll put them in a Ziploc bag, and then you can pull out a couple at a time if you just want a couple and fry them up or use the air fryer. I haven't actually fried them up in the air fryer. I did do that. The last time I made these, I used egg roll wrappers. They were plant-based. They had a weird consistency to them, and I didn't really like them. I did eventually eat them all, but yeah, I tried to cook them in the air fryer, and I guess they would have been better if they hadn't been those plant-based wrappers. They just weren't right. So next week, hopefully my daughter will be in her apartment this weekend. Today's Wednesday. So I'll be able to take the dogs to her, or she can pick them up. And then I have a doctor's appointment in her town at the end of the week, and I may just make a run to one of the Asian or two of the Asian markets and pick up some more rice and the lumpia wrappers, possibly a couple other things, but I do want to replenish my rice because it is getting a little bit low. It is a product of California though, the one I buy, so hopefully no tariffs. Although I don't know where the bag they use to put the rice in comes from, so it could have tariffs on it. Who knows? But I'm gonna buy another good sized bag, so I'll have it on hand. Dinky's not being good. He's dug holes all under my little outbuilding, and the little garden beds are dug out. And I'm gonna have to get some wood chips and put where they run around the garden straight out from the patio, and put some wood chips down, because it is just, well, that and all the rain we've gotten, it's just a muddy mess. Occasionally I've put wood chips in that area and gravel and trying to build it up a little bit, although I don't know where the water is going to go if it does get built up. There was a swimming pool, an above ground pool, and a deck in that area. It's very sandy, and underneath that is clay. So I'm thinking that's why the water pools there so badly. I have tried to build it up before I put the garden beds there, but didn't do too good of a job. So I'm gonna go look at my list of tomato plants and other plants that my friends want. We're having I think we're having game night this weekend, so possibly Saturday. So I'm gonna pot up. I have to wash the pots out first, the bigger pots, and pot up the really tall ones. One of them is flopping over right now, so it's probably it really needs to be moved into a bigger pot. So I'm going to do that while my lumpia innards cool off. I'm making a chicken soft taco for my lunch. I warmed up the flour tortilla and the chicken. Few onions, some sour cream. I like fresh cilantro too, but they didn't have any when I went to Walmart yesterday. Lots of guacamole. Some cheese. I always overfill my taco shells. Some salsa. In the summertime, I might put, I got a piece of cheese in there. I might put fresh tomatoes, but I don't buy store-bought tomatoes. They're tasteless, and I'm not paying for tasteless tomatoes. I can't remember if I put the onions on. I think I did. I'm going to add a couple more. And that's my lunch. I am going to put it in the fridge and let it cool down some more before I bag it up and freeze it. So I still have this giant ham I need to cut up and freeze. It comes with this glaze. So I might save this and cut a chunk and use it for game night, maybe. Yeah, I might make a part of it for game night. I made a big mess all down my cabinet. Yep. This ham is huge. This would be good for beans. I've been trying to figure out what to make for game night. And maybe just slices of ham with that glaze and some butter rolls. Does that sound good? So this is what the ham came out to. This container, it's a square container full. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Ziploc bags of ham, and then the ham bone, which is gonna probably be cooked up with that 15 bean soup beans that I bought the other day. So this one's gonna go in the fridge. This, and so is this, so I can make sandwiches and probably omelets with it. And the rest are gonna go in the freezer. So I got all the, well, not all, some of the tomatoes repotted and one of the milkweed plants into bigger containers. I don't have enough to repot them up, repot all of them. I don't have enough soil, or have a little bit of soil left, but not enough to repot them all. And my new kitchen things came, kind of matches my kitchen green. I think it's been, so I bought some about 2 years ago, year ago, I don't remember. Whenever my kitchen was close to being finished, I bought some new hot holders and these things, because the countertop is quartz and you're not supposed to put really hot stuff on them. But it's been, I don't know, 20 years or more since I've bought kitchen rags. I bought the towels, the bigger ones, but I haven't bought the little ones in decades. I don't even remember when. I'm gonna take a hot shower because I am sore just from what little cooking and repotting. Oh, this one's really pretty. I've got 2 of these. 2 of the solid ones, and then 4 of the plaid. Is that plaid? I guess it's plaid. So the only other thing I plan to buy anytime soon are shoes. In fact, I probably need to get on that tonight before, you know what, starts, and it starts affecting the price of tennis shoes. So we have one more person coming to game night, somebody I don't think I've ever met. Hoping to pawn off some of my tomato plants on them because I have tomatoes coming out of my ears. Too many of them lived, especially the Brandywine. Nobody wants the Brandywine. I know they don't produce great, but they have a great flavor. They and the Sungolds are really getting big. The 2 orange varieties I started, they don't look too, they look more sickly than the other ones, and I don't know if it's because of the type they are, or they were just affected by the cold air when I have been putting them out to harden off. So I have 3 or 4 of the sun golds that are already starting to bloom, except for the one I actually planted outside. I don't think it has blooms on it, which is kind of messed up that I picked one that wasn't close to blooming. Oh well. I don't know what I'm gonna have for dinner tonight. My feet are killing me. I started getting foot cramps about an hour ago. So I ate a pickle because something in the pickle juice makes cramping muscles go away. And I don't remember what it is, but it does work. I don't know if it's psychological, but now it's starting to start up again, so I am going to go take a hot shower. And I got mud all over the floor. More mud. What are you growling about, buddy? Dinky's been a bad boy. He's been up in the garbage on the counter. He's been digging holes in the backyard. And growling. He had a tick on his eyelid day before yesterday. I didn't even notice it. My daughter noticed it. And so I tried to hold him while she tried to get it off, and then that didn't work. So then she finally, after sitting in the floor with him for about 30 or 40 minutes, he finally let her take it off. But they're gonna get a nice bath when they get home to their new home, because they are full of mud. Their bellies are coated with mud. I'm gonna go, and then I'm gonna try and find some tennis shoes to replace my worn out ones, and take a nice hot shower, and then get something to eat, and do some surveys, which I haven't been doing a whole lot of the last few days. I hope you all have beautiful weather today, or had beautiful weather. It's been sunny, a little breezy, a little bit cold, colder than I thought it was gonna be. So y'all take care. Thank you all for watching. Bye.